friends, welcome to a recommendation video for underhyped but completed fantasy series. These are all series that you could start today and you could finish next week if you wanted. We are going to go in ascending order. Some of these definitely get more love than others, but some are quite small and definitely deserve the hype. So we are starting with the smallest to the biggest. If you've been on my channel literally at all this year, you've probably heard me talk about this. It is so underloved. It's an indie fantasy, so it does make sense that it's smaller than any of the other ones in this pile. The rest are all traditionally published. The first book in the series only has 2,468 ratings, which is criminally insane to me and needs to be changed, so you need to go pick this up. My all-time favorite indie fantasy series. I think I can give it that title, which is the War Eternal series by Rob J. Hayes, which starts with book 1 Along the Razor's Edge, or better known, I feel like, in my circles as the Eska series, because Eska is just such an incredible character that I literally think it should have been named after her. This is following our main character Eska, who is a sorcerer and fights in the war at literally just the age of 15. But when her side starts to lose, she is forced to surrender. There's only one place that they would dare to send a sorcerer of her power, which is called the Pit, a prison sunken so deep inside the world that the sun is a distant memory. Now she finds herself in this pit, stripped of her powers and surrounded by the world's greatest thieves and mercenaries. There is no way out of this pit, but that does not stop Eska from trying. Throughout the series, we just follow Eska as she creates allies and she does exactly what Eska wants to do. And I think that is such an incredible journey to go on, because Eska is herself and she believes strongly and she loves strongly and she's loyal to a fault and all these incredible things. Eska is the main character of my dreams. I loved following her and I hope that you love following her too. This has such a unique magic system. The way the magic works is you swallow sources, and these sources will kill you within minutes if you're not attuned to them. But if you are attuned to them, they are still going to kill you at some point, but you will be able to use their magical abilities first. And I think that this is just such a cool science-based magic system that I truly loved. I hope that you enjoy this series. One of my favorites, criminally underrated. Please read it. I also should tell you that it is a 5-book long series, but I think it reads like a trilogy and then a duology within the same world following Eska still, but it is 5 books long. I only own the first 2, I need to change that. I feel like this was just an excuse to tell you about all of my favorite series. I also can't believe how little love this one gets. When I looked at Goodreads, it has 4,090 ratings only, and I'm just utterly shocked by that, because I think this series was so good and such an easy read. I would call it a gateway book. I think it works well if you're looking to get into fantasy, if you're looking to get into more of a high epic style of fantasy. This one is the Burning Blade and Silver Eye trilogy by Janko Wexler, which starts with Ashes of the Sun. And I loved this. This one we're following 2 siblings who are separated. At around 4 years old, the Empire comes and takes Maya away from her family because she's sick, and they say that they can help her. Now this memory of having seen his sister being taken away has left Geyer with a scar and a very traumatic past. He blames the Empire for splitting up his family, and he vows to... In present day, we have our siblings fighting on different sides of the war. We have Geyer leading a revolution, a rebellion, and we have Maya, who has grown up within the Empire learning their ways and is definitely indoctrinated into their ways. And that just leads to such an incredible story. The way this is told, the way the 2 timelines and POVs match each other, they mirror each other, they're going on similar journeys, but they're learning different things. It's just absolutely incredible to me. This is also sapphic. There is a sapphic romance in it, and it is inspired by Star Wars. I think that if you listen to my synopsis and you're a Star Wars fan, you'll see the similarities. The magic is kind of similar to the Force in ways, but it's very specific to the user, and you have your own specific type of magic, which I thought was really cool. I overall really loved this one. It is only a trilogy, and I think that if you've loved the first one, you'll feel absolutely the same way about the second and third. This is a fun time series full of characters that you will fall in love with that go on a journey, and it's so good. More people need to read it. The next series we read for Backlist Book Club, it only has 6,737 ratings, which when I looked these up, I was just shocked. I keep being shocked by how little my most loved series have. The Winnowing Flame series by Jen Williams. This is a trilogy. The first book in the series was a 5-star and is my favorite in the series, but I think that the journey of all 3 is pretty incredible. This series has some of my absolute favorite animal companions. I think the animal companions in this are so full of life and personality that I loved them so much. They don't really come into play until the second book, but I just need to always shout about it, that it's there. This is a multi-POV'd story, and we're following a world where there's something called a rain, and this means that the aliens come and rain down on their planet and try to destroy everything. They're trying to like wipe out mankind, anything that's living on this planet. Something happened in the 8th rain, which has stopped the 9th rain from coming, for a while at least. But also, something happened in that 8th reign to the vampire-like creatures of this world, who are what protect humans from the aliens. What is going to happen when the 9th reign ends up coming and mankind has to defend themselves? That's not going to be good, because we're useless. We have an exploration of learning what actually happens within this reign. We have an exploration of what's happening to the vampire-like creatures. There's like mysteries and developments. This is definitely a genre blending series. I think it's fantasy with a little bit of sci-fi, with a little bit of horror. I have such fond memories of reading this and the uniqueness of this story. I think more people should try it. Now we've gotten ourselves to some bigger boys. They are definitely a little bit more well-known, but I still think that they are underrated and that more people should pick them up. So our 4th series on this list is The Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne by Brian Stavley, which starts with The Emperor's Blades. This is another sibling story. I think I have a thing for sibling stories, so if you have any recommendations, let me know down below. This has 39,454, so quite a lot more than the other ones that we were looking at, but give it more love. Like, please, I need to see this on more favorite lists. In this, we're following our 3 siblings as they learn that their father, the Emperor, is dead. He has been slain, he has been murdered, and we watch them trying to figure out the pieces of what actually happened to their dad and what he's been setting them up for throughout his entire life, because he has been someone moving the pieces on the chessboard. So we follow Caden, who is the heir to the Unhewn Throne, who has been living at a monastery, learning the ways of like this religious sector within this world, learning like how to be like peaceful, and there's like a lot of interesting things happening to him within the entire building of the world and who his dad is. That sector of religion is devoted to the blank god. There are a lot of different gods within this world. Gods meddling is like a big part of this series in my opinion, and I really liked that. Then we follow Valen, who is an ocean away. This was my favorite POV. He is part of the Ketrel, which is an elite group of soldiers who fly in squads on these gigantic bird creatures that are also called Ketrel, which was a little confusing to me. I really enjoyed the like found family aspect of his POV. Loved it so much. I think you will too. And then we follow Adair, who is a minister. She is their sister, and she is never allowed to sit on the Unhewn Throne because she is a woman. We watch her fight back against that because of the position that she's in, and we also get to see a lot of the politics throughout her POV, and I thought that was really interesting. She's still back at the castle, so she is more aware of what was happening right up to the moment that her father was murdered. I loved this series. I think it escalates so much throughout the entire series. If you're looking for a series about meddling gods and family dynamics, and a series that's gonna break your heart, but you're also gonna fall in love with the characters, pick this up. There is a standalone in this world afterwards and a trilogy in this world that follows, but this is a completed trilogy, and I binged this in like 2 weeks. Incredible, amazing. I also really enjoyed the audiobook. Now the last series on this list is an all-time favorite of mine. I still think it's underrated, but obviously it has the most ratings on this list, with 56,007 ratings at the time of filming this. My last series to make you read and binge is just kindly missing from its spot back there, so you probably knew it was coming. The Book of the Ancestor trilogy by Mark Lawrence, which starts with Red Sister. I love this so much. I love Nona. And I think that this is such an experience of a series and an incredible journey. Like Eska that I talked about earlier, Nona is loyal to a fault. She believes in what she believes in, and friendship is the core of this story. Like, relationships are the core of this story. Although it's not a romantic relationship, there are some, but like that's not like the essence. Like, I wouldn't call it like it's not a fantasy romance, but like Nona's relationships are literally what this entire trilogy is about, and it's incredible and amazing. If you feel for them, you feel for them. You are ride or die. This is a series where we're following Nona Grey, who ends up killing someone really important and going to be hanged. But she is saved by Abyss Glass, and she is taken to the convent of Sweet Mercy, where people train to become assassin nuns. Within this world, there's also a magical system that revolves around like blood being passed down through generations, and some people being special because they have multiple types of this blood within their blood. It's really cool. I like the magic system. I love the concept of like the missing that happens within this series, and I really just love following Nona and seeing what adventure she gets on, or following this like school setting. She's like that kid in class that does not listen but like you love. Like, you know how there's like the troublemakers that annoy you, but there's like the troublemakers that are so endearing? I feel like that's Nona. Like, Nona is so endearing that everyone ends up loving her. But like, man, she's a handful. Like, she's that kid. And I loved it. I loved her so much. I feel similar to Mark Lawrence as I do to Brandon Sanderson, where I feel like their writing is very easy and accessible to people, but they are writing like epic fantasies and these really cool magic systems, but it's really easy to like just get sucked into their stories, even if like it's your first time. Red Sister is one of the first fantasies that I picked up as an adult, and I think that's why it holds such a special place in my heart, because it really got me back into reading, and is part of the reason that I created this booktube channel, because I wanted to talk about things like this. So there we have it, 5 underrated, completed, bingeable fantasy series for you to check out. If you're not new to my channel, you've probably heard me scream about all of these already, but if you are new, just so you know, I yell about these like every 5 videos. You'll probably see something talked about. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you plan on picking any of these up. If you have any underrated fantasy series that are worth checking out, leave me a comment down below. If you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a clock emoji down below. And then if you'd like to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked down in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day. Coffee, 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 coffee. I need to film more videos. Let's drink coffee.